Well, good morning, guys. Welcome to a new little segment I've decided to do. Not quite sure what to call it, but every morning I take my dog for a walk, and I thought while I'm walking, I would give you just some thoughts of some of the things happening in the boxing world in the last sort of 24 to 48 hours. And forgive me as I keep an eye on my dog as well. He's one of those dogs that if you take your eyes off him for a split second, he's gone. So anyway, first of all, last night's fights. Thought Justis Huni looked really good against Troy Pilcher. He did say he was going to be putting a lot more emphasis on his power. Look, I'm still to be convinced about it. Last night was obviously a good step. Troy Pilcher, look, I think we all know he's a limited opponent, but I said a few times during the live watch along that he was tough, he was hard, he was strong, he'd have a go, and I think that's what Justis Huni wanted. But you sort of got the impression as soon as Justis started landing those left hooks to the body that it wasn't going to take too long for the fight to be over. So yeah, good performance from Justis. The undercard, what was the undercard fight? Oh, Lucas Miller, Clay Waterman. Yeah, no, I was impressed with Clay. I knew Lucas to give him a tough fight, and he did. Clay Waterman, yeah, he did exactly what he had to do and got the win, so good on him. Some other things happening that we again spoke about during the live was, what do you make of, well, a lot of people asked, what do you make of Michael Zerafa and Glenn Rushton? Well, I must admit, you talk about the odd couple, this is it. So if you don't know, Glenn was obviously the trainer of Jeff Horn, came up against Michael Zerafa a couple of times, and let's just say the interactions weren't exactly amicable or friendly, and Michael said some horrific things about Glenn. Said he was one of the worst trainers he'd ever seen, and yeah, just said right down to his haircut was no good. He didn't have the best interest of Jeff at heart. All these different things, some pretty bad things. Really went to town at him at the press conferences and everything. So it's just, as I said, talk about the odd couple. To think that Michael has gone up to train with Glenn in pursuit of the Zoo brothers. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, especially when you saw what Tim did to Jeff. I mean, it was very, very one-sided. Nothing that Jeff tried worked. Did not win a round. So I'm not quite sure what he offers to Michael Zerafa going forward. And Michael just doesn't seem to have any stability. Every fight, it's a new trainer, it's a new manager, it's a new promoter. This time it's going to be better. This time I'm coming. This time I'm making it run for it and look out. If I'm being completely honest, I don't want to be disparaging to Michael. He's a professional fighter. He trains hard. He sacrifices, dedicates himself, all that sort of stuff. But while I think the Nikita Zoo fight is definitely in play, I think the Tim Zoo fight is no chance. I just don't think Michael is maybe as relevant as maybe he thinks he is. I'm pretty adamant that Glenn Jennings and Tim Zoo and the No Limit guys would not even be thinking about a Tim Zoo fight. They've got way bigger things on the horizon for Tim. I don't think he's in play at all. But Nikita, keep an eye on the Nikita fight. And for what it's worth, I think it's actually a good fight for Nikita and probably Michael. It's probably his last hurrah. I think Nikita Zoo still wins that fight, just in my opinion. So, and the final thing I'll just touch on. The Canelo Alvarez situation. Now, I'm actually glad that he's got a fight on September 14th, because I'm going to be over there, and well, I was pretty silly at the start of the year. I actually booked flights for that weekend, hoping and thinking that there was going to be an event. I was a little bit nervous when they were saying that there was going to be no fight. Canelo was maybe looking to fight later in the year because of the UFC on in Las Vegas on the same night. So I'm really glad that at least he's going to fight. That's the main thing. But Edgar Berlanga, oh look, I know he's probably not the most ideal fighter for Canelo, but look, take the David Benavidez situation out of the equation, I think it's it's probably the best fight we're going to get for Canelo. Maybe Christian Mbili or someone like that might have been okay too, but yeah. Well, again, I know we all want the David Benavidez fight. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Canelo, I think he's made it pretty adamant that at least for now he doesn't want the fight. So really, I don't see Belunga as being a bad option. I really don't. I think he's young, he's brash, he's cocky, really wants the fight, and not just for the monetary side of things, which is what a lot of these other guys seem to do these days. So I actually think it's a live fight. Look, obviously I think Canelo wins the fight, probably quite handily, but at least we're going to get an all-action fight. Edgar Belunga is going to go out there and he's going to really take it up to Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez will have no choice but to go with him. And maybe he wants that. Maybe he wants to make a statement fight against... I'll just get my dog here. Hang on there, buddy. Oh. Sorry. Oh. Sorry about that. This is what you get when you do it on a walk, I suppose, isn't it? But yeah, look, I think Canelo will probably want to make a statement out of Belunga, I would think. He'll come to Canelo, he'll throw bombs, he'll back himself, and I think that'll work into Canelo's favour, by the way, but at least we'll have a fight. Now, there was talk about maybe Eubank Jr. being the opponent. I'm really glad that's not the case. Yes, it would have been great to have a fight in England for Canelo. It would have been great for the fans, probably great for Canelo. He's always said that he wants to fight over there. So, yeah, so that is a shame. But as for the opponent itself, I think Chris Eubank Jr., I think we would have got maybe a scenario of Jamel Charlo again, a fighter that's just really in there for the payday and to survive and not really try and win the fight. Now, maybe I'll be wrong, but I much prefer if it come down to the two to have Belunga in there. And you know he's going to be entertaining in the lead up. We're going to play on the whole Puerto Rico versus Mexico thing. But I'll say it again, I'm just really glad that there's an event on in Las Vegas that weekend. So I've got non-refundable tickets. And yeah, I'm just glad it's on. And look, at the end of the day, I probably would have went to see the UFC at the Sphere. So at least something was on anyway. But so yeah, I think that's about it for today's little episode of what's happening in the boxing world. I'm going to try and do this every day, by the way. Every day there seems to be something that pops up. Don't forget this weekend we've got the Joe Joyce and Chisora. I think that'll be one-sided. And that's I think that's about it for this weekend. But anyway, that's it. Talk to you tomorrow. Catch you then.